are very close to him. Again and again, he calls their attention to the harvest. And the first thing you need to notice about the harvest is that in this harvest, no matter who is ahead of you, there is space for you. There is space for you. Now, Jesus is God, like we know. Jesus healed all diseases. Jesus was an evangelist par excellence. Jesus was a towering man of God that can intimidate the city of anybody. So, in his generation, I believe that it is easy for people to say that with Jesus leading mega church movements, reaching thousands, that there is nothing more to do. And Jesus was a passionate harvester. He went for the harvest wherever it was, whether it was in the village or it was in the city. But the Bible says that after working so hard, he decided to evaluate the state of the harvest, which is what we are going to do today. He decided to look at the harvest and to look at the status of the harvest. And he drew one damning conclusion. Now, Jesus is brutally honest. So it been easy for him to beat his chest and say, I think I have done so well. I have harvested the world. After all, none of the Pharisees and the Sadducees have harvested the kind of people that I have harvested. But he ended with this statement. Number one, he said the harvest is great, or the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. So despite all I have done, the state of the harvest is that the harvest is plenteous. So the first thing you need to notice is that there is space in the harvest field for you. Number two, you need to notice that it is important that we review the state of the harvest. And when you look at the state of the harvest, the first thing you must take serious attention to is the present statistics as far as the harvest is concerned. So you realize that the statistics indicated then, and at that point in time, there were just about 1.5 million people all over the world. Presently, we are heading to 7 billion people all over the world. And it is said that out of that 7 billion people, about half of that population, close to 3.5 billion, are below the age 15 years. So when they say the harvest is plenteous, when they say that what we need to, if it was plenteous then, if it was very great at that point, it is overwhelmingly great now. In fact, it's at a state of emergency. And the Bible says that when he was looking at the status of the harvest, he looked at the statistics, he also looked at the state of the harvest. And one of the things he noticed was that the people were helpless, the people they were harassed, the people they were confused, the people they were stressed out. They were like a sheep without shepherd. And because we are children workers, I want us to pay a deep attention to children. Today, the children more than ever before are harassed. They are targeted by advert companies. Almost all advert companies target children, and those that survive most are those that target children. When Cowbell came into Africa, it was the leading brand. But wisely, what did they do? They started Cowbell mathematics competition. They targeted the children, and successfully, once they captured them, they took over the market. They started with no money, so they were poor, they were doing sachet them. But by the time they captured, in fact, they had to drag the market leaders to come and surrender to their strategy. So you notice that people began to produce sachet milk and things like that. So you realize that politicians are targeting children. Many of them are recruited. What you see today as Boko Haram, what you see today as cultists. Many of them started as young people who were recruited to go to political rallies and were subsequently inducted into cultism and they became hoodlums of different strands. They are targeted by the internet. The greatest users of the internet are children today. And I was reading a book, The Battle for the Next Generation. And the writer raised a very serious question. Why is it that a lot of children raised in wonderful Christian families turn out not to be Christians? And the writer carried out a very efficient research. And he said, before now, the problem that children have is that children need a lot of attention. But from that time till now, up until now, the attention that people are able to give to Christians, including pastors, including leaders in the church, is diminishing by the day. Now, I read a story to show you that it's an age-long problem. And the writer discovered that these children are abandoned, they feel helpless, they struggle with their emotions, they struggle with problems they don't know how to handle. They begin to make strange friends. They make friends with television, they make friends with their handset. And the handset become their father and their mother, their teachers, their pastors, their evangelists, and their mentors, and they end up tormenting them. Now, I want you to look at the story that I read as an illustration. David was a man after God's heart, anointed 3 times. The sweet psalmist of Israel. But then, like all of us, brought on his brother's village. And the normal thing is that the children will believe that this uncle they have brought to the house must be trusted, must be innocent, must be accepted. And the Bible says that the man was a sly person. And what happened? All of a sudden, there's of the kingdom running around, administering Israel, and his son was struggling with a developmental challenge. You realize that by my training, I did a lot of physiology. And I was excited the last person was talking about teenagers. Teenagers, it is at the teenage age that they are lost. They are lost to sex, they are lost to relationship. If they miss it in this area, they are finished. It's difficult to recover them. And the reason is because there are a lot of serious hormonal changes that take place in their life. I remember I was the president of the Christian Union University of Nigeria. And before I became the president, I realized a very deadly ritual. And that was that we were going to excommunicate some very wonderful brethren who were involved in immorality. It happened in my first day, it happened in my second day, it happened in my third day. So it was one dirty job I didn't want to do as president. So when we went for the retreat, I began to seek the face of God. And based on what we studied in class,